Well, we just, we'll get started. You do the prayer thing.
We can.
Your dad wasn't a glassmaker, so I could see you.
You want me to say it, Blake?
That'll work.
All right, I'll say it.
Lord, dear most kind Heavenly Father, we are so indeed grateful to be able to be here tonight at the emergency preparedness class, and we're grateful for what Blake is going to teach us, and please help him to convey that message to us, so we may be able to learn and grow, and that we may be able to help those around us with this class. And we are so very grateful for all that was blessed us with. We love thee, and we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you. Well, welcome. Some of you may not like what you hear, and I don't care.
There's the door.
Benjamin Franklin said, if you make yourself a sheep, the wolves will eat you. I'm going to try to give you some ideas about ways to protect your home and the people in it. One of the ways is, how many of you lock your door all day long? How many of you lock your doors at night? Do you have a storm door? How many have a storm door? Because if somebody's on your front porch and you open the door, they can come straight in. If you've got the storm door there and it's locked, it makes it a lot harder for them to come in. And you can talk through the storm door and say, what do you want? What are you doing here? Etc. But you can't do that if you have to open the door to talk to them. They can shove you down and come right on in. Do you have children that know where your designated safe place is? Do you have a safe room or a safe place that they know where to go when they hear gunshots, or they smell smoke, or fire, or screaming? Do they know where to go? Do you do that in family home evening and say, now we're going to practice this tonight. When I tell you to go to the safe room, go. Practice it. And do they know what this is? Do you know what this is? It's a door stop. On your safe room, do you have a lock on the door? Is it just one of these phony ones that we have on all the doors? You just push the button in and it locks? Well, if that's what you have one of these and shove it under the door, and you teach the kids how to shove it under the door. Then it makes it that much harder for whoever's trying to get in to get in. Your striker plates on your doors come with screws like this. Most of the break-ins come between 10 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon while you're gone and your kids are gone to school. And all they do to get in is kick the front door open. Your striker plates held together with this screw. It's a lot better with one of these. So pull these little dinky ones out and put 3.5-inch ones in your striker plates. Plus all up and down the door, about a foot up and a foot down, a foot apart, so that it makes it that much harder for them to kick the door open. They can try, but they're not going to kick it open. Just so you know, Joseph Smith had a pistol with him in the Carthage jail, and it was a 5-shot. And he opened the door and shot it at the people trying to get in there to kill him. If it's okay for Joseph Smith to have a pistol, it's all right for Blake to have one. Yeah, I just kind of figured, you know, if it's a good idea for Joseph, it's a good idea for me. Put the screws in, and outside lights. Now, Whitney Shepherd has the outside lights down. That's lit up like the mothership. And then there's a couple down the road, one of them looks like the sister ship, but Whitney's got the lights down. Some of you need to take some lessons from Whitney. There's two kinds of predators. Ones that want your stuff, and the ones that want to do harm to you and your children. There are 3,000 home invasions every single day in the United States. 3,000. The only thing in this house that's worth me giving my life for is Beth. Makes it easy when there's just two of us, because we just stay in the room, call 911, and let them come to us, and when they come through the door, they're going to get a greeting. Now, different story if I've got kids that are in that bedroom down there, and I'm in this bedroom here, how am I going to do that? Come up here, Mr. Shepherd.
That's you.
No, that's you.
Look at you. I'm just a shepherd. You're Mr.
He's my neighbor, and I'm not gonna piss him off, because I use him a lot. You got kids down the hall?
I do.
Okay,
Across the hall.
put this in, on. There's another one that goes across here, but we'll leave it like that. That's a bulletproof vest. It's good for an AR-15. It's not, but it's heavy. Now, and you're gonna be in this, time you're done, about $500. How much your kid's worth? How much money is it to get another kid? What's the hospital bill?
10 plus.
So, you know, weigh that, whether you want one of these to try to get to the room to help the kids, or just make another kid. You have that option. So how important are they to you? Like I said, you're gonna be in this around $500. It weighs about 25 pounds.
So you would keep, I just wanna make sure I'm clear, the vest would be kept in our bedroom, in our
Yes,
closet?
in your bedroom,
Okay, okay.
where you can get it on, because the kids aren't gonna need it,
Right,
but you're gonna need to get to the kids, and the way you get to the kids, if somebody else is in the house shooting at you, this is a good way to try to get to the kids. There's another one, which is this backpack, and these are online AR-500 armor. It's $165. It has bulletproof on just in the bag. Now you can put it on like this if you're running down there's gonna be shooting here. You wanna buy two of them, you can put one over your back. They make these for kids. They make these for kids. The kids ones are $140. All different colors that you can have for your kid. To have them put on. Thank you, appreciate that. You have one of these?
No, I don't.
Well, you're gonna get one.
He's got kids.
Bulletproof vest. They're not illegal to have. You can buy them online. Something that you might want to be interested in, especially just the backpack, if you just want to go that route. With your rubber door stop, you need to teach your kids how to use that, to stick it in the door. Any kid that you have that's over the age of 10 needs to know how to load a gun and shoot it. That's just the way it is. I mean, if they're 10 years old, that at 16, they're gonna be able to drive a car, which kills a whole lot more people a year than guns do. So they need to know how to shoot a gun. I was easy because I was raised on a ranch farm. And by the back door, we had a 22 bolt action, and we all shot it. My mother Sundays sent me out to shoot a chicken, and I shot 5 shots at it, and I shot the comb off, and the wattles off, and it was just going around flipping blood everywhere, and she come out and said, "What the hell are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I'm trying to shoot that chicken. Give me the gun." So I gave her the gun, and 1 shot, chicken's dead, go cut the head off and clean the chicken. So we had chicken for dinner. But my mother was an excellent shot.
How old does kids have to be to take hunter safety, Blake?
I think it's 12. No?
Heidi just finished hers, and Heidi's 8. So I don't think there is
Okay,
it's not an age requirement
that's,
anymore.
that's good, let's solve that. There are other less than lethal things you can use, a hairspray, a pepper spray, a taser, but probably one of the best things is plain old hornet spray, which will go 16 feet. And you'll be less likely to get sued by the bad guy for blinding him with hornet spray, because you didn't specifically buy it to do injury to him. Well, a taser, yeah, maybe he's allergic, and you fry him with your taser. The other problems is that most of them don't go very far, but hornet spray will go from here to Boyd. And they're pretty cheap. You can buy it, you can have it almost everywhere. 75% of all the break-ins are people who are looking for drugs and valuables. And by drugs, some of you may be dealing, I don't know. But if you are, you better be paying more tithing. But where do you keep your meds? I have lots of meds. I have one to keep my liver running, and one to keep my heart running, and 2 or 3 others to keep me running. So I have lots of meds, but none of mine are narcotic. So they're not much good. But if you go to the dentist and your tooth aches, he gives you some Oxycontin, and you bring it home. Do your kids know where it is? And I know your kids would never take it and sell it. Never. It would be the neighbor's kids who came into play and took it and sold it. So where are your meds? Are they locked up? Or they can't get to them? No. No. I know boys are not, because I've gone over and borrowed some. You need a safe by your bed that you can instantly get into. And they have them, Hornady makes them, and you just have to put your hand on it and it opens. And they're about this size. So you can keep one pistol in it, and you can also pick up another one that locks the trigger on like an AR. This is what they call a PPC, pistol caliber carbine, 30 round magazine. Don't have to reload a lot. It shoots a 9mm. To give you an idea, here are cartridges. This is a 380. This is a 380. Problem with this gun, and it fits in my pocket, and you never know it's there. And until they told me not to carry it to church, I carried it to church. But now I don't.
Kinda wish you still did.
Sorry?
Kinda wish you still did.
But you'll find, to work this, you gotta pull it back to get the round in. How hard is that to pull back?
Is that okay to touch it?
It's still hard.
It's hard.
Well,
Hold this hand here and push it down.
I was, it's hard.
And that's part of the problem, is that if you can't do this to get the round in, the gun's no good to you. .380's not a bad cartridge. It's gotta be pretty good because John Moses Browning, the greatest Mormon ever, invented it. Next one here is a 9mm. Probably the most popular cartridge in the world today, and most pistols are made for a 9mm. This one is a 9mm, and this one is easier to work the action on than the other one.
Yeah, it's a lot easier.
Holds 12 rounds. It's pretty easy to carry. Can you work the action? You know what an action is?
I would assume it's where the action happens.
Yeah. It's not in the bedroom. Okay, if you're able to do that, then you can get the gun into service and something ready to go. So, the gun is no good to you if you can't use it. It's just, all it is then is an expensive club. This is another one, this is a Russian, and I can barely pull the action back on this. It's that hard. Now this is a 1911. Let's hear it for John Moses Browning. 1911. The thing about this gun is it just feels good in your hand. I mean, he made it so that it felt good.
Feels real bad.
And you work the action on it. There you go. So you want one that you can work the action on and one that feels good. If it doesn't feel good, you're not going to shoot it a lot.
Like, the last one I bought, they made for women. It's real easy to pull back, it's a 9mm.
And they have, Smith & Wesson has one they call the EZ, which is what it is. Now, when you're in your house and things go bump in the night, and you wake up and you pull your pistol out and you don't have your earmuffs, you're gonna be really deaf. Or you can get a suppressor. And yes, suppressors are illegal in Utah.
It just takes a long time.
All you have to do, it takes a long time, you have to pay $200 to the government for a stamp, but then you've got a suppressor and it makes it a lot quieter. Is it totally quiet like the movies? No, it isn't. This is by my bed. Now to give you an idea on revolvers, everybody knows about revolvers. This is a single action revolver, which means you can't pull the trigger. You have to cock the hammer to pull the trigger. That's what single action means. Now, this is a double action. You can cock it, or you can pull the trigger.
Is that easier to use though, than a, like, that, the automatic, pistol?
Semi-automatic.
Or that's what I meant, sorry.
But that, I knew what you meant. Can you open this to see if there's anything in it? See that? Push it forward.
Like, I should point it at the ground, not your chest.
And then you tip that out. Is there anything in it?
Okay, I was just making sure, I was just
Well, that's
pointing
good.
it right
That's
at you,
good. That's-
freaking me out.
I'm replaceable. Beth has insurance.
See, I just feel like this is easier to use.
Okay, try it. You can cock it and shoot it, cock it.
Just take a minute.
Now try pulling the trigger. Now pull the trigger without cocking it.
Yeah, I think those other ones are a little more challenging to use.
Well, and that's why you need to go to one of the gun stores, like Ready Gunner, the one over in Springville, and rent 2 or 3 different guns and try them. This gun I've had since Adam was insured. And it's had literally 50, 60,000 rounds through it. And so it is quite smooth.
Is the little one up there, the snub nose, the stainless, is that one as easy? That one's yeah, because.
This one has no hammer. It's made to carry in your pocket. But,
That would be easier for a woman.
yes and no. Try pulling this one versus the other one.
Oh, it is.
It's harder.
You straighten the little finger muscle.
You gotta, it's harder to pull the trigger. Whereas those, and this is smaller. And this is the cartridge it takes, which is pretty good sized. Now, Mr. Macho wants to shoot a .357 Magnum, but he only does it once in one of these. Then after that, he goes to 38 specials because it torques you. It lets you know that something has gone off. Plus, you're in your house, no hearing protection on, and the muzzle is right there, and you are definitely going to be deaf for quite some time. So again, it comes back to which gun works for you. This is the gun that's by my bed. Why?
Oh, what a bit of a kick do they give? Good ones.
Sorry?
Yes, how bad of a kick do they have? So they're
Not
on the
much.
machine.
Flashlights. 1 is none. 2 is 1. So you need flashlights. You put that in the guy's eye and he's gonna blink. But the old flashlights that you had to light a match to see if they were lit. So you're looking at $100. This is one that you can squeeze with your finger and then your thumb. You can hold it in your hand like this. You can look around the room. No, it's not one of my kids, or it's my favorite kid. So I'm not doing anything there. And with this, I'm muzzling whoever it is with my gun. And I'm already amped up. So if I have this, plus this, then I can look around the corner. Oh yeah, that's one of the kids wondering what's going on. And so then I don't have to use this.
How does that stay on your gun?
Sorry?
How does it stay on your gun?
It just hooks on the rail here on the bottom.
Okay.
You push it with either thumb to turn the light on. Put your finger in there, right here, yeah. And it just screws on. This is a pretty good gun. It's pretty goof proof. And it shoots a way big cartridge. And it's not that heavy that you can't control it, but it is a single action. You're gonna have to cock that every time you want something to happen. You can't just pull the trigger and make it go.
The other people, they would have a hard time not.
Lasers are hard to hold in place. They look like a sewing machine out there. And plus it shows them that you're shooting at them. So it's not as easy. This is one that I use a lot. It is what they call a red dot. The red dot wakes up whenever you pick the gun up. Some people, this is hard for them to find when they look through it. And after you use it a while, look through it, can you see the dot?
I did,
That's
I
one of
lost
the
it.
symbols.
Hold it out farther, like yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
And wherever the dot is where the bullet's gonna go. If the dot is this far from the side of the guy, that's where the bullet's gonna go. But if you have the dot on the guy, it's gonna work. Leave both eyes open.
Oh yeah, then it's in the center.
It just, your mind will automatically focus it and send it to the center.
You're supposed to shoot with both sides open.
That's kind of the end thing now with most pistols, is because you're getting old and you can't see as well. And the red dot helps you. However, there is a distinct learning curve with the red dot. You have got to practice with it. It's like anything else. Shooting a pistol is a perishable
Pull it out with both hands a little farther.
habit, for lack of a better word. You've got to do it. You've got to practice it. It's not like riding a bike. Once you get on, you're good to go. But you've got to practice it. Now, pistols are not the only thing that people have in their houses, but there are advantages and disadvantages to every one of these. Bringing a knife to a gunfight. It happens, and oftentimes they win. Or bringing Laban's sword to the gunfight.
Taller than you.
And heavier. But if all I've got is Laban's sword, then that's what I'm gonna use.
Stop moving the broadsword too.
This is a knife that's designed for knife fighting. That's what it's designed for. It's not to skin deer or elk, it's designed to fight with. Why? You got these hooks here and there to protect your hand. Plus this. What is it? What is it, Terry? What's this? Metal. Bronze. So when the guy slashes with his knife, it catches on that and stops for just a second. Won't let the knife slide. It gives you a second to insert a new area for his heart.
I'm gonna be jumping ahead, so you tell me to stop, because I am. But how do you know, like, I guess, what are certain situations that you would know when to shoot someone?
If they're in your house and you didn't invite them in, they are not there for home evening.
Okay. Well, I was thinking, isn't there like a weird law though in Utah? Like,
In Utah, it's called a castle law or a house law. If they're in your house, you can legally kill them.
okay.
So inside,
You better be ready to defend yourself.
Exactly.
In Utah, you have to prove that it was self-defense.
And
Well,
all
that's what I'm saying, but you have to prove, right?
no, you don't have to prove self-defense, but it's easier to do that. You don't, in Utah, and lawyers right over here, it's good to have one on call for you. And,
Okay.
and we're getting to that about what to
They're
tell
gonna shoot to kill.
911 when they call 911,
I'm not
or
shooting
not
like
to
you're
tell
like, I'm
911.
shooting them.
But in Utah, it's the castle doctrine, and it's legal for you to shoot someone, to kill someone in your house.
The way the law is in Utah, though, the burden of proof is on you, not on the DA.
That's true.
but don't you think if they're in your house,
Not necessarily. Let me give you an example, and this is actually from a real case. DA got up, talked about the person that used a load that they had loaded themselves. Talked about this person down in their basement, creating these loads that were intended to kill people, creating a premeditated attempt to kill somebody. It's going to be on you to prove that that wasn't what you were doing, if it does go to court. That's the only thing you thought, actually, was it last year or the year before, I can't remember for sure. There was legislation to try to reverse that. So it's the DA's burden of proof to prove that it wasn't self-defense, rather than your burden of proof to prove it was. Texas passed something like that, Florida's had something like that for about a decade now. If it comes up again, it's something that we gotta try to drive through because it would make a big difference on the ability to defend yourself.
You probably wanna shoot them in the front and not the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that goes pretty far. You
After
probably
you're
do it
on
in
the
front.
floor,
If it's front.
stop shooting.
Yeah.
You shoot as long as they're a threat. When they're no longer a threat, you stop. And then you're gonna be pretty good. A lot of people are into pistols. This is not a pistol. It's a lever action rifle. This one happens to be a 44 Magnum. And it is a good in-the-house gun. With this cartridge and the different bullets that I can buy, it is not gonna go through one wall. Now, that 9mm, it's gonna go through 4 walls. This one is not. It's gonna go through one piece of sheetrock and stop. Good gun to have, it's simple to use. Cock the hammer, here's the hammer, pull the trigger, do it again, pull the trigger. Easy to teach a kid how to use. Like I said, it's a 44 Magnum, it's not gonna recoil much. On the other hand, this PCC shoots a 9mm, but it holds 30 rounds. And it has a optic on it that's pretty easy to see.
Oh, that's really easy to see.
Like says, the older you get, the better the red dot is.
Yeah, and this one
Because
is
you can see it.
adjustable for midgets like me, or you can for giants. So
And so,
this costs $1,000, which is nothing if it's his money.
right?
Or if you need it.
Or if you want.
So obviously.
But I mean, if you need to use $1,000 isn't bad.
Hey, thanks, Blake.
Yeah, but people go spend
My
money
birthday's in
on
December.
stupid stuff.
Yeah, well, I might have another one by then. That soft mushy thing with your foot, I told you not to take your shoes off. But this
Okay,
is
wait, Blake, so obviously these ones wouldn't fit in that small Hornady safe, right? These
this
other
one
ones.
won't, but you can buy a lock that goes right in here that takes just 2 fingers for you to manipulate to open it.
And you would, so a gun this size you would keep where in your house?
Underneath my bed,
Underneath the bed. And how do you teach, like, when you were raising your children, what was your safety procedure with having like a gun like that under your bed? Like,
Well,
is it a
I had a
family
lock on it.
discussion?
I had a lock on it.
It's a definite family discussion.
So
But at
that,
what point do you teach a child? You're saying at 10 years old, a child should know, like,
He should,
how to
he
load
should
it?
know how to load it, unload it. That there's 4 things to a gun. Number 1, every gun is loaded. Number 2, you never put your finger in the trigger till your sight is on the target. Number 3, where is the bullet gonna go? What's it gonna go through? 2 walls? Bullet will go through a car door and car windows. But, and I speak from experience.
well, on TV, they
Don't
don't.
just say that, Blake. Tell them your experience. It's quite funny.
Scott made the mistake of parking his pickup truck behind my shooting range. And one day, half a mile away, I shot through both back windows.
Yeah, but there was a cornfield in the road.
And there was a cornfield that went through the cornfield and then through the back windows. And he calls me, we're out to dinner, and he calls me and he says, "Were you shooting today?" I said, "Yes. I was practicing sitting down, loading, getting up, and then shooting. Well, you shot a hole through my truck." I did not. Yes, you did. Actually, 2 holes. One where it went in and one where it came out. I didn't believe him, so he took a picture and sent it to me. And there was 2 holes in the back of his truck. Luckily, it was the back part of the truck. Wasn't the bed. And so all I had to do was buy 2 new windows. But yes, they will go a half a mile. And that was a 9 mm. It wasn't a big caliber.
So getting back to the lock you put in the trailer guard, you said it takes 2 fingers, is that fingerprints or is that just?
No, there's one that's fingerprints, and there was another one that you have to manipulate. A kid, if he played with it long enough, could probably manipulate it. Probably every one of you got one of these now. The problem with the shotgun is they're big and long, and they're hard to come around the corner. You've got to have the gun up.
Show yourself.
Now, if you're Biden, you just stick it around the corner and pull the trigger.
Oh, yeah, from your porch.
Off your porch. So shotguns are good, and you can get all kinds of loads for shotguns. Some that won't go through the walls, and some that will just go to the person. So you can adjust the loads on a shotgun, all kinds of different loads on a shotgun. This is the gun that I usually use under my bed. This is an AR-15. Has the light, holds 30 rounds. It's 223. Has a circle with a dot, just like that one, which is easy for me to pick up in the night. Short stock. I can come around corners, so I don't have to get all out of the way. I can shoot with my left hand around the corner, and it shoots a 223, which again is a cartridge that you can do all kinds of things. It can go through 5 walls. It can go through car doors. It can go through the porch. It's up to you to customize the shots you want to work in the gun.
I don't like you handing guns to Ashley all the time.
Say again?
I don't like you handing her guns all the time.
She looks like she's the one though that needs to pick one up.
Brady, do you not take her shooting?
Like I said, it comes back to if you have kids in another part of the house, it's a whole different problem. Because me, I just stay in the bedroom. And when they come in the bedroom, I'm waiting with this, or Beth is. That brings up the next point. How many of your spouses actually know how to shoot? I know she does, because I shot with her. So do they know how to shoot? Are they comfortable? Beth is an Aussie, and they never had many guns over there. And she was never comfortable with guns, but she knows how to use them. I used to go to a competition that took a spotter to see where you were hitting, and she spotted for me for 5 years. I didn't love it, but I usually bought her a milkshake when we were done. But she tolerated it, and she learned how to use it. Again, it comes back to, do you know how to load the gun? You work the gun? Yes. You know how to put a new magazine in it? Yes. If you're not comfortable with guns, then get Conan's sword. Some of you will not kill another human being unless they were going to harm your children or your spouse. Most of you, if it's just you, you say, me, hey, if I'm going, they're going with me. So it's a different mindset. When I was in the Army, we trained on M1s, which is what they used in World War II. They'd just gotten rid of spears and swords when I was in, and they'd gone to guns, so it was a long time ago, and as soon as we got out of infantry training, then we trained on the 308, not the 30-06. And then they did show us the AR-15s, but none of us got to shoot them. They were just coming out, and this was in the early 60s. So it comes back down to what you're comfortable shooting. This gun doesn't kick much, but it kicks. You're gonna know if you're alive when it goes off. This one does not. It's not much more than shooting a .22 because the gun itself weighs about 7 pounds, and that takes out a lot of the recoil. You're shooting this cartridge, 9mm, and it's kind of one of those deals where you do the pray and spray. You spray the general area, and if there's enough lead out there, somebody's bound to run into it. So it comes back to what is going to work for you. Revolvers are easy to shoot, and they're pretty dumb-proof. And 99.9% of the time, they go off. If they don't go off, all you have to do is pull the trigger again, and it goes to the next hole. However, on the semi-automatic, most of the problems with a semi-automatic is the magazine. So you need 2 magazines. You dump the one you got in there, you put the new one in, rack it, and see what happens. But there are more things to go wrong with this gun than with a revolver. Again, it comes back to practice. When I was shooting competition, revolver competition, I shot 1,000 rounds a month. And if I was going to a big competition, Beth went with me out to California a number of times. I'd shoot 2,000 rounds in a month. I liked it. I still like it. I like to shoot. And I'll be glad to teach any of you who really actually want to learn how to shoot. So that's all I got. What else, Beth? Anything I've forgotten?
Like Jenny Taylor, their daughter does a real good gun class.
Yes.
Yeah, she's
There are
very
2 or
good.
3 places. One that's called Girls with a Gun. They teach nothing but women. And by the way, women are way easier to teach than men. Because men are stupid. And men, I don't know why, but men do not listen. You can tell a woman, this is the way you need to hold the gun. You need to have your hand up here in the web, not down here, but up here. And this is how you hold your other hand. And you know what? They do it. And the man, well, I read a book about Kit Carson once, and I know how to shoot. I can shoot the eye out of a gnat at 300 yards. So women are much easier to teach to shoot, and they become really good shots. But it's, like I said, it's a perishable skill. You don't practice it, you lose it. And if you think when something goes bump in the night, all I gotta do is jump up with this and everything's gonna be wonderful, you're wrong. When you're in a situation, the best that you can hope for is that you will do 1/10 of what you did in practice. So, it's not gonna happen. Well, the shotgun Shotgun doesn't do that much. The shotgun from here in this house is gonna put a hole about this big. It's not gonna spread out all over the place. It just, that's not the way they work. So you gotta find a gun that works for you. If you don't like the shotgun, like I said, I just plain like the feel of 1911. And just when I pick it up, my hand just goes, oh. I just feel good, and when I pull the trigger, it feels good in my hand. It's kind of like an old friend. Blowing in Beth's ear. It's same with the revolvers. I've shot them for so long, they just feel good in my hand. Different grips, you get a different grip smaller or larger. These the same way. You can replace this with one if you've got bigger hands. You can get your hand around it or not around it, or you need one smaller. Comes down to what you want to do. What is comfortable in your hand and what you can shoot with. 22. 22. Lots of guys have gone to the spirit world with a 22. I went on a hunt to Alaska, and we had a guide. He was one of the First Nation. His name was Roy Abu, and he was a real character. And I said, "What do you do for moose? What do you shoot moose with?" 22. I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah, I just go up on them with snowshoes and shoot them in the eye with a 22. And I thought, well, that's
Interesting.
gotta be pretty good. But a 22, the best gun to have in a gunfight is the one you got. The one you got is a lot better than the one you left home in the safe or in the car. I don't go out to shop much without this one or this one. This one usually goes in a holster right here.
You have to get a different,
Sorry?
I wanna call it a silencer, you have to get a different silencer for each type of gun.
Well, you can get one that is quite adjustable for different barrels. One that'll do 22, 9mm, up to a 40. And so you don't have to buy a different suppressor for each one. I have a suppressor that works on the AR too. And like I said, they are not silent. You still hear it when it goes off. And Beth doesn't hear it in the house, and Leighton doesn't hear it at his house. But you still hear it. It's gonna go poop, poop. And but the 22 is easy to shoot. You can get this in a 22 size, the EZ that Smith & Wesson has, and they're easy to rack, they're easy to carry. This one just, and it has a little clip on it, and that just goes in my little fat belly button here, and that's it. And there's the gun. And seldom ever, I've never had anybody say to me, "Are you carrying?" No, I said, "Yeah, 30 pounds. Right here." But so it's what you're comfortable with. And again, there are no right answers, and there is no right gun. There are some that will work for you and some that won't. And that's what it amounts to. But if you're serious about protecting your home and your family, then you need to do something about getting a gun, getting a vest, teaching your children where to go, what to do if there's fire, gunshots, screaming. We're meeting outside with the tree, and who's gonna take the head count? Well, you're gonna take the head count. You're gonna say, "Okay, everybody's here." No, they're not. You get on the phone, call the others. "Where are you? What are you doing?" Stay where you're at. Don't stay where you're at. So it all comes down to you, and it's up to you to decide what's going to work for you. But I'll tell you this, if you find yourself fighting for your life, then that's exactly what it is. A fight for your life. And there is nothing that's against the rules. That's all I'll say about that. There's some cookies up here. If you don't like them, throw them up. There's some water there in the cooler. Help yourself. The Pepsis are mine. I didn't put them in the cooler. I have them out in the shop.
Thank you, Blake.
You're welcome. There's one other thing for any of you women here. We have a kitchen table and chairs that's a glass table and 4 chairs that if you have any grandkids or great-grandkids that need a kitchen table and chairs, they can have it.
It's just a round one.
It's just a
with
round-
4 chairs.
And the glass doesn't have any scratches in it, and the chairs are all pretty good. But if you know anybody that wants it or anybody that can use it, they can have it. Help yourself. You can pick up these and play with them. And they're all empty. Paul will attest to that. Which one do you think is going to work for you? And like I said, if you want to come and shoot some, we can do that.
Because she was finding that ladies were taking the classes and they're not comfortable still using